Hello, everyone. A quick life update and a story for you. I have not been writing so many Substacks recently because I am deep in writing my fourth book. And I have been working it and reworking it and working it again and working the Substack articles I've already written and finding the gaps that really need to flesh out my fourth book, which is titled I Don't See Color. However, I think that the subtitle is going to change because it was the weaponization of the all is one law in modern spirituality. But I think it might end up being how empire has flattened the sacred. And this is because of obviously how I've evolved as a writer and the story I want to tell about my own journey, about being a practitioner and how I went from girl boss, white innocence, through to spiritual escapism, through to where I am now. And the spiritual escapism one is a new thing that I really just sort of almost come through at the moment. And it's all sort of emerging. And the thing about writing something that is part memoir, part about yourself, is that you really can't write it when you're in the middle of it, when you're in pain or when you're going through something. You almost have to wait till it completes and it moves through you, and then you can see it for what it is without the wounding. Today is the 1st of April, and the first day, oh no, sorry, it's the 1st of April, and it's the 2nd-year anniversary of us moving to Portugal. So I think this is very timely for everything that is going on with the world and my life. And we, each of us, is a microcosm of the macrocosm. And we've just moved house. So we've moved from our last house into this place, which we will be in for 5 years. We've signed a 5-year lease, and we have our visa renewal coming up this month. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes and in my life. So Substack writing has taken a backseat and is sort of on hold while I get this fourth book going, while I start, shifting into promoting IBI, intuitive body intelligence training, which should be starting in August this year. Enrollment's opening in June. And I have, however, still been serving clients. And I have a story that I want to share about one of my clients, which is a really good example of that microcosm as a reflection of the macrocosm, like of what's going on. So this client of mine, we were in session, and I'm sharing this with her permission, and she was telling me how she couldn't sleep, right? And she was like, we've been working quite a lot on sleep, and if anyone has ever worked with me, you know that nothing, absolutely nothing, replaces good sleep, right? So you must sleep. So she wasn't sleeping, and we've been working quite a lot on her sleep and making it. And she was saying, "Oh God, Leandra, like I've tried everything, I've done everything, I did all the things." And then she's like, and then I was talking to my sister, and she Googled, she's a nurse practitioner, and she's in the business, and she used her, her software and things to find out what this new medication she's been put on, like what its side effects were. And she's like, oh, one of the side effects of this medication you've been put on is insomnia. And she said to me, she's like, God, Leandra, I thought it was me. I thought it was all about me and it was all in my control, but it was something outside that was doing this to me. And I just thought to myself, you know what? That is a perfect example of the world we're living in now, right? The conditions we're living in. And, one of the things I was saying, because she's in Australia, I was saying, she can't change what the government is doing that is then causing the fuel prices to rise. Like fuel prices are around $3 a litre in Australia at the moment. And that is a direct result of somebody else's decision, something else that is outside of you. So it is no point berating yourself of, I can't afford petrol, when the reason you can't afford petrol is something outside of you. And this is a really good example of the work we do in IBI, right? And the things I sort of help people with. It's discerning this of what is me, what is in my control, and what is not in my control. And as a kid, I remember hearing the serenity prayer, which is, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And IBI is really focused on the wisdom to know the difference, the wisdom of your body, the intuitive intelligence of your body telling you what is the difference? What can I control and what can't I? Because the problem with modern spirituality is that it has been commoditized, right? Capitalism has got its little tentacles and fingers into spirituality. And what has happened is that we now believe we can fix everything. We can buy our way out of it. We can meditate our way out of it, buy my 6-day course, shove a crystal up your vagina, and everything will be fixed, right? But in the case of the fuel prices, in the cases of my client, there was something outside of her that was causing this. Now, she did all the things, of course, and the same thing with fuel prices. You can change your budget, you can do everything, but you cannot change the core problem, right? You can only change the way that you are now responding to that core problem, right? So I think it's really important for us as humans to remember this stuff, right? So at the moment, I'm not writing any Substack articles, right? And I could say that that's because I'm not disciplined enough, that I haven't carved out enough time, that I'm, not, it's not a priority to me or anything, when it's not true. Like, writing is a huge priority for me, right? But I am a human being who only has a certain amount of capacity, right? I have a finite amount of energy. Like, I am in a finite body, even though I have access to the infinite. And that is what chiropractic is all about reuniting man the spiritual with man the physical, so that the finite can know it's infinite. I understand that I am infinite, but I also have to accept my finiteness. So that is why I am not writing any Substack articles at the moment. That is why I have not washed my hair in days, because I can't find my shampoo because we've moved house. Yeah, that is why I'm coming to you via video, because this is what my capacity allows. I'm showing up in a way that allows. So my lesson for you, the message for you from this, is that know the difference, the wisdom to know the difference. Yes, there are certain things in our lives we can change and we have agency over, and we must take responsibility for them, with no blame, but responsibility for changing those things. But there are certain things that we must accept. Not, oh, it's bad and it's awful, just that is how it is. And that needs to be accepted, and we need to know the wisdom to know the difference. So IBI sits in that space of the wisdom of knowing the difference between conditions that we cannot change that are affecting us, and what our responsibility is with our reactions, and what we can change and what we can do, what is within our capacity and our control, right? And it is about also holding those things not within our body causing friction, but holding those further away from us, right? So that they can live outside of us, so that all these realities have space. So yes, that is what I wanted to share today. And I am really looking forward to getting back to my Substack articles. But if you are missing them, I apologize. And this is not an excuse, but it is the wisdom, the wisdom to know what I'm capable of. So yes, the book will be finished soon, I really hope. But yeah, if you've ever written a book before, you will understand that it is not in the writing. The writing's the easy part. It's the structuring and the threads that go through it, and the working of it. The writing part's easy, but yeah, it's the structure of it. So, and I'm all about energetic architecture. So of course, I am really particular about the energetic architecture of my book as well. So I'm so glad that you're all here, and thank you so much for watching my video, and so much love to you. I will see you all very soon. Bisous.